Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined by Jim Ramsey, and he's here today to talk more about what he does at Aletheia Marriage Counseling, and of course helps so many people with counseling. Couples, families, individuals, relationships, I know are his thing, and he has plenty of years of experience and really helping people. And he also has helped to save lots of marriages and believing in the Gottman Institute on why marriages succeed or fail. So he's trained with this. He's trained with a lot of different issues and does different modalities of therapy to help people. So let me ask you, first and foremost, just to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and, of course, why you love what you do, Jim.
Well, I can't think of a more meaningful life's work than marriage counseling. I've done it now for 50 years, and I enjoy working with couples very, very much. And the thing that's developed in the last 20 years or so is a real huge breakthrough, and that is research, a lot of research on why marriages succeed or fail. And the Gottman Institute did 35 years of research, and I'm one of their certified Gottman therapists, been with them for 20 years. But I'm also trained with Susan Johnson's emotion-focused or EFT therapy, and that's a very effective research-based approach as well.
Well, thank you. And to reach you, tell us the website and phone number.
Website is AletheiaMarriageCounseling.com. Aletheia, Aletheia. It's a transliteration of a Greek word. And my phone number is 406-370-3515.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being here. And to get started today, I know we are always on top of, going over questions that couples sometimes may have. And how do you make things last? How do you fix things? How do you communicate? I mean, we're going to get into a lot, as we always do. But we are backing up here. And I know we talked last time, did we finish talking about the Gottman method?
We were right at the very end. We were starting to talk about the 4 pillars.
Yes. And we got cut off, I think. Principles. Yes.
Yeah. We were talking about the 7 principles for making marriage work in the Gottman approach,
and the 4 pillars. Yes,
are you're talking now in the 7th principle that he talks about in the book. Then there's the pillars, but you see, as you get to the 6th and 7th principle, we're talking about into the future. We're talking about how do we grow together? How do we get closer? How do we have our relationship get richer? And so the pillars are, number 1, rituals of connection. You want to make sure that you have various ways of connecting with each other on a regular basis. A good example is kissing each other hello or goodbye. Mm-hmm. It sounds kind of funny, but a lot of couples get out of that. They just don't do it anymore. They just out the door he goes, and that's it, or kissing each other goodnight, or having a little talk time after dinner, say. We call that, just basically talking to each other is visiting. You're not talking about problems. You're not talking about anything other than how to go today. It's a ritual of connection where you just kind of get caught up with each other, what you heard on the radio coming back from work, or what happened at work, what success you had, what failure. You support each other. You're just best friends. You want to get together and get caught up with each other. That's a ritual of connection. And so, and then just little things like, watching TV at night together, or going for walks, or making sure you have meals together, and having little phone conversations. And you're connecting throughout the day in various little ways that just reinforce that we're best friends.
I love it. And those are the little things that people need to remember how important it is, right? And to do these types of little things that go such a long way. And you also want to talk about the difference, though, with the Gottman, approach, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, when you look at the emotion-focused therapy, or what they call EFT, you're still dealing with how to transform a marriage. But they're more directly working on focusing on the emotions that are happening, mm-hmm. and helping people to get past dysfunctional emotions and emotions that are just vicious circles and it could go on for hours and get nowhere, to how to get down to talking about what's really going on deep inside, mm-hmm. in a way that's vulnerable, where you're trusting each other and you're really talking about what's going on inside of you, rather than kind of reacting to this or reacting to that. Those are emotions.
Yeah.
But those emotions cause reactions. And you don't want to get into reactive programs where somebody's attacking and somebody's shutting down and those kinds of things because it doesn't get anywhere.
Hmm.
And so emotion focused therapy helps people to get down to what's really going on and handle things in a way that works. It's more hands-on, you know.
And let me tell you that I lost my whole screen with your email because the email went out. So what was the next question on tap today? Because I don't have it right here.
Okay, well, yeah, the front office didn't get it from me, and so you're not getting it. So that's up to
No,
them.
they did just send it to me before the show started. I had the first question about the difference, but then the computer just was rebooting. So I
Oh,
apologize. So go for the next
have a
one.
little problem with the computer. Okay, that's fine. Well, actually, as we start talking about emotion focused therapy, I answered the first question. It focuses on emotion and learning how to express emotion properly. It's really what the name says, emotion focused therapy. But where the research comes in, I'll give you a little bit more background.
Okay.
They found that in orphanages 50, 60 years ago, there were babies that just died for apparently no reason. They called it failure to thrive.
Oh,
And so they want to know what's going on. And they found that if babies are not handled and played with, and just like a mom would normally do with their baby, they don't connect. They don't have any sense of connection with the adult. And baby humans have to have connection. If they don't, they can die or they become psychotic.
oh,
And to the level that there's not a good relationship with a mother or father or both, they have problems that go on into life.
yeah.
They may not have severe, like total isolation, like the baby in the orphanage, but they can have situations where they have an alcoholic or a drug addict parent,
Yeah.
and they're just not given the attention they need. And
Mm,
that causes insecurity that manifests itself as a small child and all the way through elementary, junior high, high school. You can see the evidences of connection problems, inadequate emotional connections, and acting out behavior, various problems. But we also know now that it shows up in marriage.
yeah.
If you don't have good connections and you're not secure emotionally, you have problems in your marriage. And so now we need to work on repairing those connections and helping you to be able to be safe and
Yeah.
secure emotionally.
So you mentioned the lifetime of love, right?
Hmm.
So the importance of that is the key approach you say to loving, to love someone, to love that child, to love that person that you're with, and that makes a difference. Love itself.
Yeah, but the manifestations of love involve giving the person the security that I'm here. I'm always going to be
Mm-hmm.
here. I believe in you. I love you dearly. Nobody could convince me that you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
There's no way that I would leave you. In other words, you're living in a marriage that's a safe haven.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place you want to go back to. It's a place you want to be. And it's a person you want to be with because you have a very strong emotional connection with them that has been maintained.
Mm-hmm.
You can start with a strong emotional connection, then bad things happen like affairs,
Yeah.
and that can really damage that emotional connection. And so we help them process why that happened and what each of you felt during it and so forth to the point where there's a sense of true forgiveness and
Yeah.
understanding and empathy. So you can go on with and deepen your relationship because every hard thing you go through strengthens a marriage if you do it right.
Yeah.
But if you don't do it right, every hard thing you go through weakens the marriage. It makes it more tenuous.
Got
And
it.
so we need to know how to process our needs and our feelings with each other.
Wow. Well, what would you say now moving over to the main goal of EFT therapy? What is that?
Well, the main goal of EFT therapy is to basically help people to focus on their emotions and learn how to express their emotions properly. That's the main purpose. And as we talk about this, I can
Yeah.
elaborate on it. They're just focusing on helping you feel happy and secure and safe. And if that happens, things get better and better because you keep building it as you solve problems, as you go through hard times together. It gets better and better.
And, when someone's working with you one on one here, how long does EFT therapy normally take? Is it a lifetime thing? How often do you have to be commit to doing the therapy for you to start to see the benefits of it?
One of the amazing things about EFT is it's probably the briefest therapy model there is,
Really?
which is very surprising. Gottman method is, 16 hours to 25 hours kind of thing.
Okay.
you're learning things. You read the book, and counting and reading the book time. Of course, that's on your own time. I don't charge you for that. But actual face-to-face work would be maybe up to 20 hours. EFT will be less than that because it's really intensive in a nice way. I mean, the therapist is very engaged with the client in person and helping them talk through what's going on, and you're guiding them and you're instructing. Tell us what you're feeling right now.
Yeah.
What's going on? How does your chest feel right now? And a lot of times people get really painful in the chest or tense, or their
Mm-hmm.
head will hurt or their stomach will feel like it's in knots. And as they begin to talk more fully about what's physiologically going on with them, the other person starts to empathize. Good night. You're over
Yeah.
there quiet, not talking to me, and I'm over here thinking you hate my guts
Yeah.
because you want to talk to me. And you're over there feeling all these tremendous, overwhelming emotions, and you're blocked up and can't talk because you really care and you're afraid you're losing me. Well, that's a whole different feeling.
Oh,
That's totally different. And the more each of them can begin to interpret anger differently, interpret crying, interpret emotion differently, all these things, we have our way of seeing it. A man seeing a woman being emotional is a very negative experience. She's very no emotional. And it makes me feel inadequate. I can't do anything about it.
mm-hmm.
Well, now in emotion focused therapy, we should help the man to do the things that calm her and help her to feel safe again
Got it.
you know? And then when he's blocked up and not talking and
Yeah.
angry, either one, instead of reacting to that, say, well, why am I staying with this guy? I don't want to be with
Mm-hmm.
this guy.
Ah.
You begin to be guided by the therapist to understand and see and get him to talk about what's really going on. And then your heart is touched.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a bond here that's disrupted or it's broken or it's badly damaged. And I can see now what's going on, why you feel that way, why you're not talking, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, what about the main question you say the couples ask of their partners internally?
Well, I would say that the main goal, of course, is to help them to have new kinds of conversations, share with each other emotionally. But the big thing is to know what they have an acronym that I think would be helpful here to
Okay.
look at. Uh, the acronym is ARE. Okay, A stands for accessibility.
Okay.
You want to work at helping them have accessibility with each other.
Okay.
R is responsiveness.
Okay.
How do I respond? Can I rely on you to respond to me?
Mm-hmm.
So accessibility is can I reach you?
Okay.
R is can I count on you to respond to me? Then E is engagement. Do I know you will value me and stay close and stay engaged with me? Or are you going to desert me because you're upset and you don't want to be here?
Mm.
And so the R factor is really important to keep in mind because that's where safety is found.
Yeah. Well, moving forward, if someone out there does want to contact you, just want to remind them Aletheia, how they contact Aletheia Marriage Counseling.
Well, you can call me on my phone or you can go to the website. The website is aletheia.marriagecounseling.com.
Perfect.
And
And
the reason that's kind of interesting to note, it's not just counseling.
oh,
It's all about marriage counseling, period.
okay.
That's what I do. And then if you want to call me, my phone number is 406-370-3515.
Awesome. And let's move on over to talk a little bit about some key moments with emotion focused therapy. Again, what are the key moments of change in emotion focused therapy?
Okay. Well, you go through conversations. They talk about the 7 conversations, and that conversation is kind of a period of therapy, which maybe an hour, and maybe a half hour, and maybe 2 or 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But in the first conversation, we're recognizing and dealing with what they call the demon dialogues,
Ooh.
and and actually, that's when we spend a fair amount of time because people need to understand what is the nature of our dialogue, you
Okay.
know. So the demon dialogues would include the first one is where they start, and often that's where they're at, but in more advanced serious problems, they'll be at one of the others. But the first one is who's the bad guy?
Yeah.
And so the whole issue, and then when they come into therapy with who's the bad guy, they'll tell you about how the other person is doing this or doing that or not doing this or doing that, and vice versa. Well, and then go on to each other. And the therapist says, look, I'm not a referee. I'm not going to give you points and somebody's going to win here. What we want to do is understand each other,
Mm-hmm.
understand the dynamics of our relationship. It's
Yeah.
not you, it's not you, it's it.
Mm-hmm.
It is the dynamics or the process that's going on. And you can both identify the process as dysfunctional and why it's dysfunctional, how it's dysfunctional, and then choose not to engage in it.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on here. We're not working on whether or not we're going to keep each other. Hopefully, you want to keep each other. We want to fix what's going on between us.
Beautiful. Well,
So that's finding the bad guy. Okay, the
okay.
next is called the the protest polka. Now, in emotion focused therapy,
Never heard this.
they use the idea of a dance as as a way of expressing what's going on. Okay,
Okay.
so if a relationship is unhealthy, it's like you're in a dance with somebody stepping on your foot and going the wrong direction,
Yeah.
and what they do hurts you, and what you do hurts them, and so they learn to see that the dance is the enemy instead of the partner. We need to learn the dance.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to dance, how to respond to each other's movements emotionally. And so the protest polka is all screwed up because somebody's attacking and somebody's defending or escaping or shutting down. And so we have these emotions that are just goofing up everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very unhappy dance.
Oh my goodness. I love this. I never heard of this. The polka. I
Yeah.
get it. I get it.
The first book by Susan Johnson that's very popular, it's very important, is called Hold Me Tight. And that's the book that's most known associated with EFT. Then there are other books that have been written since then. The book that I particularly like is Created for Connection, in which Susan Johnson wrote this book with one of her therapists who is a Christian and thought
Okay.
it'd be good to apply EFT process to the
Yeah.
Christian community. And it's very a lot of connections here because basic Christianity is talking about the love of God. He loves us without strings attached. He forgives us. He forgets our sins as they put them as far away as the east is from the west, and remembrance against us no more. We're secure. Christianity is all about being secure with God, knowing that you're forgiven, that you're accepted, that you're loved. And so to tie these things together really works out nicely because what the Bible teaches about how we should relate to God really is right on about how we should relate to each other. In fact, the Bible goes on to talk about forgiving each other, loving each other, and so forth. So that book, Created for Connection, is very good.
Got it. Thank you for that. I never heard of it till today. You always teach me new stuff, and that's what I love about you. And, that's what life is all about. You learn something new every day. When you talk to Jim Ramsey, you learn about 5 or 10 things new every week. And moving on now to, well, continuing, I should say, with emotion focused therapy, right? Do you want to talk more about that? And
Well, I could talk
the,
about
okay,
the
yeah.
third demon dialogue, and this is where you get into the advanced stages of distress. They
Okay.
call it freeze and flee,
Oh,
and it's basically nobody wants to dance. They want to run away from the dance hall altogether or just sit there in their chair and not go on the dance floor. They
mm-hmm.
just are giving up on trying because nothing works. And these people are very close to divorce. They're very scared, very frustrated, very angry, very hurt. And so when you begin to work with them, all that comes out. And then the therapist helps them to go down slowly and calm it and get down, okay, what's really here? And why are you feeling that way? And at first you see they're reacting to what the other one does. Well, so we'll go over there and see what they're doing. And then we go back and forth and we get it worked down to you're scared to death
Mm-hmm.
and you're so angry you can hardly see straight because it feels to you like they don't give a rip about you.
So
And anyway,
true.
we get them talking about what's really there and do it in a sane way that is being heard by the other person. And then they begin to say, oh, okay, well, maybe what we need to do is learn how to do the 3 time, 3/4 time or four
Mm-hmm.
four time. We need to learn the steps, we need to learn how to do this stuff, you know? There's just basic things we need to know about a relationship that we don't know and that we're having horrible trouble because we don't really understand what's going on.
Yeah. It's so true. And, those out there, no matter where you are, our friend can help you here. So I just want to let you know that Jim Ramsey, I know we're here on the podcast, Zoomcast, whatever you're listening and watching to. Doesn't matter where you live, where you're from. He's able to work with you with, as we call it, telehealth here online. So go reach out to him and AletheaMarriageCounseling.com. And as our professional of the year, he's been very insightful to the work he does, helping couples and people. And I just hope that you do reach out, especially now during the holidays. I know we talked about this. Relationships could be rough, not even just with your immediate, spouse or partner, but family and all key things that come around the holidays, the money, the family that's coming on. There's always a lot of added stress and emotion in a sense, right? And this is that time of year where things get a little hectic, I would say, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know more about the music of dance too, but I'm jumping the gun. Okay, go ahead.
Well, going on with their approach, they have what they call the 7 conversations.
Yeah.
And each of these conversations would be a session or two, sometimes they can handle everything in a given conversation in one session. Like I say, it's amazingly short-term therapy. But the first conversation is just to find the raw spots.
Okay.
And that's kind of after you do the 3 dances, the dialogue, the demon dialogues, then you begin looking at the specifics and talk about the things that are causing the problem. Maybe it's financing, parenting, issues with in-laws, who knows what. But the different raw spots need to be then processed emotionally. The third conversation is revisiting a really raw or rocky moment, revisiting a hard time. In any kind of marriage therapy, it's very important to get things established and then go back and process the difficult times and help them to see each other's perspective and get into each other's shoes emotionally. Because the tendency is I'm so into my memories that my memories get worse and worse. In fact, I'm shocked to hear what the other person felt or saw at that time because I'm just into my side of it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I'm talking about something that had 20 years ago, and they're talking about what they saw and how they perceived and how they felt. And you're kind of sitting there, huh?
Huh?
That's what you were thinking?
Exactly.
And here's something that's they haven't processed
Yeah.
that they've been angry about and heard about for 20 years, but they have not gotten into each other's shoes and really empathize with the other person and be able to show empathy to each other. That's what heals things.
Yeah.
And so that's the conversation revisiting a rocky moment. Then 4 is engaging and connecting.
Okay.
And of course, that's really, really important to just really engage in every area that comes up and help them connect, understand, connect, and begin to really see how much your partner loves you and how much pain they've been going through and how hard it was for them and vice versa. And those things, then everything you process and go through makes you closer instead of more alienated. And then conversation 5 is forgiving injuries and just taking time to just really thoughtfully and sincerely forgive each other for things and let go of things. It's amazing how much pain people can experience over a lifetime about something that didn't really get forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a right way to forgive and a wrong way. A man's way typically is saying, I'm sorry.
And
And
what
a
is
woman does
typical
not
man's?
respond,
What's the
I'm
woman's
sorry.
way? What is the woman's way?
That's not a woman's way.
Okay. Yep.
There's a process to apologize to a woman. First of all, you have to acknowledge what you did and how they perceived it and how they felt. And then the context of describing what you did and showing empathy and understanding of how they felt and how they saw it. Then you say, I'm so sorry I did that. I didn't realize. And I could see it clearly now. That just must have killed you. I'm so sorry. But you got to verbalize. You can't just say, I'm sorry.
And
And
really
that's supposed to be it.
empathize.
And you never
Yeah.
talk about it again. See, for a man, when you apologize, you say, I'm sorry, and you never talk about it again.
Oh,
That's not effective.
we kind of bring things up again and again, right?
Yeah, you got that right.
We
And that
tend to
drives a
harp
man
on
crazy.
things. I'm so guilty with this.
They bring it up over and over again. But there's a reason, because they don't have closure. If the woman doesn't have closure, she's going to bring it up again. So if you're smart, and most guys are, but they're not very smart in this department, she's bringing it up again because it's not resolved. So what do? You don't get mad. You say, honey, let's talk about this. Apparently, this is still bugging you. I want you to help me understand what I don't seem to be reaching with you.
And
I want you to get me in your shoes so that I can really, really apologize to you. I don't want you feeling like I'm just putting you off or I'm shining you on. See, so the more a man is willing to listen, the more she's able to talk and be heard, the more resolution there is.
I love it. Oh, my goodness. We all need a little Jim Ramsey in our lives. All right. We still have just 2 minutes left, so we got to kind of fast forward a little bit. Keep going.
Okay, well, let's look at the sixth and seventh. The sixth conversation is bonding through sex and touch. We want people to finally get back to where they were or get to where they need to be in their physical and emotional intimacy. A lot of couples just think that as you get older, you just don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's not true. The more you love each other, the more you do it. I was counseling years ago with a couple that were in their 60s, and they were having sexual intercourse every day. I thought, wow.
Yeah, impressive.
But it's very typical for seniors to have sex 2 or 3 times a week.
Amazing.
And a lot of young couples they don't think that. They go with the whole bean in the bottle joke, You do it all the time like rabbits when you're young, and then when you're older, once in a blue moon you do it. And if you take a bean out of the bottle every time that you put in when you're young, take you your whole life, they say. That's not true. If you have a good relationship, you're continuing to be intimate and you're enjoying it even more than you did because you're deeper in love with each other. You know each other more, you enjoy each other more.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's so true. Okay, hold on one second. We are out of time. We got to kind of sum it up. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
How did you want to sum it up?
Well,
I know we still have more to talk about. Yeah. So how do we contact you? And
yeah, the last one after sex, conversation 7 is keeping love in your life and we talk about how to keep things going the rest of your life. So I like the emotion focused approach because it gets right down to where you live. And focuses on it until you're straight and you're healed and you know what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it always. And one more time, aletheia-marriagecounseling.com. Thank you again for being here, and we'll talk again next week. Always a pleasure, Jim, and getting ready for the holidays. Isn't it exciting? It's always exciting, right? Well, enjoy the rest of the day, and thank you again for sending everything. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye now. Bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.